Okay, so I had a whole 30-minute video, and that just, for some reason, it didn't record the audio. Like, it said that the sound mixer was recording me. It said that it was connected. It's just, I had to close OBS and open it again. So, the live commentary is not an option, but I'll just look at the replay and comment on that instead. Okay, so the team I was expecting was Serena, Golden Go, Lopunny, Rodom, Ninetales, Alola, and Victini. But he didn't bring Serena or Ninetales. Instead, he brought Chansey and Glysaur. Now, Glysaur didn't have any great advantage against my team, but it did add another, like, 12 turns to it. And Golden Go usually runs Trick. Rodom usually runs Trick. I think Victini gets access to Trick. And, so I was expecting, like, Trick users. And you see that come up. So it ended up lasting 27 turns, and he was expecting it. They were exaggerating. They were saying, it'll be 100 turns. And that wasn't true at all. It actually went by pretty fast. There were a lot of comments saying, what? I didn't expect this guy to bring stall and this guy with the stall team to bring setup sweepers. This is so throwing me off. And that was Azoth comment. We'll be fighting him next. But right now we're dealing with Razi, which is a nickname based on his last name. And we don't want it to be too loud, of course. And this is better than the live commentary, because this battle ended up being about 20 minutes, because he was very nervous about making the correct decision. He had to think a lot about it, because I guess I brought a team that he wasn't prepared for, and there wasn't really much room for error, because I think the way I've calculated it, I've had the best matchup against Rossi out of the 4 or 5 people I've prepared for so far. And yeah, so he sends out the Rotom. Rotom is... he's just got this grin. He knows he's smug. And he goes for the trick right off the bat because he knows I'm going to go into Blissey. And Blissey generally doesn't like having a choice scarf. Although I tend to run interesting sets with my Blissey, he's thinking that Blissey is like Chansey. And if you get rid of its Eviolite and give it a choice scarf, it's not going to run any other attacks besides Seismic Toss. So he tries to Volt Switch. I switch in my ground type so he can't Volt Switch anymore. And so right now he has an eject button. I don't remember... okay, so the reason I had a eject button on my Blissey, I was expecting Ninetales Alola. I thought Ninetales Alola was the biggest threat to my team. And so I was actually underprepared for that. I had Choice Scarf Haxorus with Iron Head in anticipation of your girl. And I actually put Brick Break on my Blissey for the Aurora Veil. I was gonna send it out on its Aurora Veil turn, Brick Break it, get hit by something, and then switch in Haxorus with the Choice Scarf, Iron Head. And I was like, oh, he's not gonna see the Iron Head coming, or because Ninetales is so fast. Oh, no, what are the chances I had a Choice Scarf? And he would be too optimistic. He would be too optimistic to make those kind of choices. And, of course, I put Iron Head on Salamence because I was really worried about Ninetales. And this guy has Shell Sidearm and Light Screen for Ninetales. And Quagsire has Assault Vest because I was expecting tricks. And yeah, so I needed Assault Vest because he's not quite strong enough to live like a Shadow Ball from Golden Go. So the Assault Vest was nice. And if the Golden Go used Trick, I was fine. And if he used Nasty Plot, I was fine, because I had Unaware. And that didn't quite work out that way. And so he uses Trick twice in a row here. And now he has the Assault Vest on his Rotom. I don't know why he used Trick twice in a row. He wanted to give it the eject button. I don't know what he thought. He wanted a leftovers. And now he's super tanky to special. But this is where he's surprised. He's like, you had Toxic and Assault Vest? What? And like, what else am I gonna put on a Quagsire? Quagsire has no moves. And Slowbro does nothing. He switches in once, says hey, and then does nothing. And then I think Glysaur ends up using Taunt like 12 times. And this Glysaur does nothing except add 15 turns to this round. I didn't like that Taunt. I was setting him up to switch into an Earthquake, but he was somehow expecting me to switch. And then he taunted again. And I was gonna put Salamence into an Earthquake, and then Dragon Dance. And that was supposed to be a good move. 'Cause it's just so slow trying to beat this Glysaur. And he takes nothing. I kinda didn't want him to get burned, otherwise I would have stayed in with the Quagsire. I wanted him to get Toxic. And then I send in Haxorus, and I bring Haxorus mostly for this Rotom. My main defense against Rotom here was Haxorus. And he gets hit by the Earthquake, and it does 83%. And that was really nice. If that didn't happen, I wouldn't have made it out with 6 Pokemon. And if I was more worried about the Glysaur, I would have put Ice Beam on the Blissey, but Glysaur can't do anything to any of my guys except Slowbro. And there we go. Then I set up the Dragon Dance. He goes for Knockoff instead of Taunt. And that move was another game changer. Like if he had taunted that turn, this wouldn't have gone nearly as well. I would have lost 2 or 3 Pokemon. Same with the hit on the Rotom. Those are the 2 most pivotal moves of this battle. And then if I hadn't got the crit, it would have done 50%. It would have taken 3 turns to knock him out. But I got a crit, and that forces him to switch. And if I was playing as Rossi right now, I would have switched into my Rotom, sacked it, and then sent in my Lopunny, faked out, then sent in another guy, faked out, and sack it, and then fake out. And he would only be able to live 2 or 3 of those. So he would have lost only 2 or 3 instead of 6 to the Salamence. But we end up finding out that Lopunny doesn't even have fake out. So that's what I would have done. I would have switched into Rotom, and then next I would have sent in Lopunny. But instead he sends in his Chansey, and he protects, because it's a Toxic Protect, and he's trying to use what he thinks are my moves against me. And he switches in Golden Go, it gets hit by the Iron Head, and so any chance of it having a Focus Sash was gone, and that was nice. I went with Iron Head instead of Dual Wing Beat because I knew Dual Wing Beat wasn't going to knock out, and I wanted the flinch chance. And that's why I end up using Yeah, he didn't even fake out. And he sends in his Victini. Oh no, he sent in his Golden Go because he wasn't sure that I had Earthquake yet. He was expecting Dragon Claw, Iron Head, Dual Wing Beat. That was gonna get resisted by his whole moveset. But I had Earthquake. I wanted to beat this Victini and the Golden Go. And then I couldn't risk the 1% chance of the Dual Wing Beat missing twice in a row. So I went with the Iron Head because I was expecting like a guaranteed either 30% or 3 turns of Toxic. Oh yeah, he could have Toxic to me earlier when he had the Chansey there, but like when he protected, he could have Toxic that turn. He would have survived. And yeah, that's that week. I ended up winning with a 6-0. Rossi, Azoth, and me are all coming from the LSBA, which is the Lake Stevens Battle Association. Lake Stevens is where the University of Washington is, and a lot of the people from LSBA went to this Pokemon club called the Society of Pokemon Masters, and I went there for like 3 years, every 2 weeks. Yeah, but we pretty much stopped in 2017? 2016, yeah. But a lot of the people in Chartwig's league are in something called Nintendo Club. And Rossi lives on the other side of the country. He's in like New York or something. But he, as a former champion of the LSBA, he's won twice. He gets to have his own, whatever these are, threads. And so Rossi's Meme Land is named after him. There's also Jack's Movie Hut and Alex's JRPG Emporium. And he posts pictures of his cats. That's why his Pokemon team name is MangoKarp Solgaleos. Because he has a cat named Mango, and I think he has a cat named Leo. And they're pretty similar looking. And this is Mango. And I think he posts like a new picture of them like it seems like every week, but I'm not keeping any kind of track. And a lot of people like it. He's also been really into Tinder this year, or dating apps in general. I'm not sure if, but there's some kind of vegetable. It's like potatoes or coconuts, and then he pretends he has a bag, and then he actually accidentally dumps them into women's DMs, and then they respond to him by pretending to give him his produce back. And we haven't heard like any conclusion of these stories, so they might never talk to him again. But we'll have to ask for an update. I will tell you if we find out in the next week versus Azoth.